Hi everyone, I'm Ali GREYMOND. Today I wanted to talk to you about three possible reactions you can have to any OCD thought and which one is the best reaction. You need to know this information because you need to understand what options you have and what is the best option so you can recover in the shortest amount of time, but also make a decision in the moment which one is best for you because some of it is more intense than others. So let's take an OCD thought. We can say, oh my God, this is so scary. I'm going to analyze my way out of it and do all of the compulsions. That's choice number one. That's not a good choice because that gets you deeper into OCD. That's going to create more of a problem. And even though you feel that it's going to get you out of this situation, out of this fear, it's actually going to make OCD worse in the long run. If you're new to this channel and this is the first video you're watching, please watch at least the yesterday's video because I kind of explain more about the process of OCD and how it works so you can understand what I'm talking about. Um, so this is like this kind of a response is what got you into the OCD in the first place. So basically you are, instead of doing exposure and response prevention, you're doing exposure and a lot of responding with fear, you know? So, and the fear in this instance is high, and this is a big step back. Okay. Now you can have a neutral response. A neutral response is where you say, this is OCD, I'm disregarding, and then you're moving forward with whatever it is you were doing, right? So you're just saying it's OCD, I'm moving on, right? Some people might say that this is kind of still reassurance, but it's so minimal, we're kind of like splitting hairs with this. So let's call this a neutral response, you know. um Neutral response is okay if you are just starting out the recovery process, you know. At least you're not doing a compulsion, and that's already enough. um Also, you might only be able to do a neutral response in the situations where you're kind of extremely stressed out, those kinds of things, right? So in those instances, neutral response is okay. Now, my favorite response is an aggressive response, where instead of defending yourself, such as you're doing with when you do the compulsion, whether physically, trying to protect the situation by doing compulsion, or mentally, justifying, analyzing, defending yourself to your own brain, right? You're actually doing the opposite of that. So you're saying, oh yeah, oh yeah, sure. Say for example, your OCD is telling you that you're a bad person, which is actually most people's OCD thoughts. Um, Oh yeah, you know what? I'm not only bad, I'm the worst person on planet Earth. Yep, I'm the worst. Your OCD tells you you're gonna go to hell. Yep, sure, of course. Clearly. It's not even a surprise, you know. Your OCD tells you maybe you've killed somebody and you're gonna go to jail. Sure, of course I've killed somebody. I've killed many people. I'm gonna kill more people in the future, of course. So you're sarcastically reacting to anything it says. You're really showing that you're not buying it. And you continue this sarcastic response every single time, even though you might feel like you're faking it. It's okay. Eventually you'll kind of, it won't feel so fake because the anxiety will go down, but this is a much more aggressive response and it gets faster results. But sometimes to people, it's a little bit scary to start out with this. If you can start out with this, I do recommend it because it's just such a strong position of power, and it just shows to your brain that, yeah, I really don't care anymore, you know. And so whatever it tells you, oh, the police are going to put you to jail. All right, okay, well, you know what, maybe I'll just sit here and I'll just wait for the police to show up at my door. Let's do that, you know what I mean? Right? So really, whatever it tells you, or everyone's going to die. Okay, everyone's going to die. Yep, okay, well, and I'll be responsible because I'm the worst person in the world, right? You know what I mean? Just like this. Like, don't give it an inch. Whatever it tells you, just a sarcastic response over and over and over again. And you will see that it actually works. And it kind of starts to become almost like a game where, you're trying to one up whatever OCD says in a sarcastic way, right? And the brain will see that you're no longer buying into it, that you're no longer scared, and it will recover a lot faster because when I'm saying like, but you have to sense the tone that I'm saying it in. You can't sound like you're scared mentally. You can't sound like you're scared. You have to. It's again what I always go back to is that jumping out of an airplane, and like, is the parachute going to open or not? It will open, but you have to choose to jump and you have to choose to believe that it will open. So we're making an accent on choosing, right? So I'm choosing, I'm making the decision to do an action, which is in this case being sarcastic, not protecting yourself, because you're choosing to view it as an OCD thought, right? And when your mind tells you, but what if you're wrong? What if bad things will happen because you're not doing? Well, clearly I'm wrong. You know what I mean? So you're not going into this conversation. You're not defending yourself. You're not coming across as a victim of this anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of saying that I've gone through this OCD cycle for long enough, and as they say, the train stops here. From this point, I am done. So whatever you tell me, I'm just not buying it anymore. You tell me everything is going to be bad, everything's going to be bad. I don't care. I'm done. I am going to take that chance because it's not really taking a chance because everybody else is going through the same thing and I'm done. Even that's probably too much explanation. So just saying I'm done, and that's it, and being done with it. And then you just move on to whatever it is that you're doing throughout the day. And the thoughts are still going to be screaming at you. They're still going to be trying to get you. So you're living parallel to those thoughts. So you spoke your truth and now you're done. And everything they tell you, you're just parallel to it. You're going about your day you know, and every once in a while, again, throwing the sarcastic remark in. So that's just my approach to things, and I find that sometimes it's a little aggressive, but this is the fastest. My theory on OCD recovery is that you have already suffered enough, and you don't need to suffer anymore. So let's not drag this out to be a very long process. Let's get you recovered as soon as possible, right? And I understand that there's sometimes situations uh where the person can't handle um this amount of recovery work because they have pressures at work, pressures at home, and so those sort of things. But my kind of response to that is that if you don't recover, if you don't do the recovery work at all, I understand you might have to slow down, you might have to do the neutral reaction, but do something each day. 5% each day. In 20 days, you will reduce all of the compulsions. In terms of analyzing, 5% analyzing each day. So give yourself a certain amount, like, I say, like, say half an hour. It's not exactly 5%, but, like half an hour. Uh, uh, More time where you are really monitoring yourself, where you're really refusing, and increase it. So today I'm just going to do half an hour where I'm really monitoring myself, that I'm not going to analyze, I'm not going to defend myself no matter what. Tomorrow you do an hour. Next day you do an hour and a half. By the time the next day after tomorrow comes, right, your anxiety is already a little bit lower, so it's easier to push. So it's not always going to be this hard, right? So it's just step by step. It's not all or nothing. um Sometimes I have clients tell me, uh I'm just going to do everything all in one day, and it's just not going to happen. It's nice that uh the ambition is there, but in all the years where I hear clients say that to me, and actually I hear it quite a lot, you know, it never works out this way, because it's too hard. The reason why you fell into OCD is because how scary it was. And for you to stop reacting all in one day, I mean, it could potentially happen, but realistically, in all the time many clients told me this, not once. It's always like this, like little by little by little. And sometimes, in that little by little, people do end up taking giant leaps forward. And also sometimes people have setbacks as well, you know. But so it's not actually like the same, but just try to, as much as possible, keep to this pace. Even if, say, you do 5% each day, which means you should recover in 20 days, okay. But realistically, you will have days where you're, doing bad, days where you didn't really make any progress, days where you forgot. So let's add 10 extra days. So that gives you a month. a month to recover from, to at least reduce the compulsions to a zero. And now you've reduced compulsions to a zero, but the thoughts are still spinning in your brain. They might not be spinning at 10 out of 10, but might be spinning at like 3 out of 10, but they're still coming in. And because the brain is still reprogramming itself, and it will reprogram itself. But now that you're not feeding it anymore, it's going to take maybe, a week or two more to reprogram, and then it's going to be almost zero. And then, this is what I say, like it takes about 6 months to recover, because the end is like, it's kind of slower, because the brain is just like, I find that the brain is more willing to let go in the beginning than it is towards the end of letting go of that last like 2% of sending you thoughts every once in a long while. I find that that's kind of like, so you might get a thought maybe like once a month, but for a few months in the end, things like that. But as long as you react correctly, at that point you won't even notice it. And then, that's how it goes away to fully, being a zero. So that's just kind of the process. And again, if you can do the aggressive method, or at least attempt it, or at least attempt it in some of the situation, because you might not be able to attempt it in the things that are really scary, but in some of the stuff that's like 5 out of 10, you can definitely attempt that kind of a response. you know I hope you guys find my videos helpful. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please subscribe. I do daily videos on OCD recovery. If you would like to do the recovery program, as always, all the information is on youhaveocd.com. You can sign up from there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.